Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Raid Shadow Legends. And in today's video, I want to talk about resources. Now, whether or not you are a new player or whether or not you've been playing for a little while, then you might understand that, well, resources are finite, right? And also it can take quite a bit of time in order to gather them up. But there's events being thrown at you almost every day to try and convince you to use them. So whether or not they're your shards, whether or not they're your souls, whether or not it's other things, your silver and energy and things. I want to talk about, the events that you really should be saving for, because if you're not a heavy spender, then these can go really quickly. And depending on where you're at in the game, this can make a pretty big difference too. We're going to talk about all of these things about how to manage your resources for especially an upcoming fusion event that probably isn't that far around the corner after this community week ends with Eodix Artor. But before we get started with the video, I do want to remind people that if you haven't started playing Raid Shadow Legends yet, you can use the QR code in the top right hand of the screen to get yourself a free legendary Eleneral at the start of your game. You can also get a free epic Tagore, who is down here at a count level 25. So great champion there. And of course, I do want to remind people that you can use the promo code Supreme6 on a brand new account to get yourself the legendary Supreme Gallic, a great Void legendary champion there. So also, if you find the information in this video helpful, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for all things Raid Shadow Legends here on the Boilon channel. They greatly help support me. So let's talk about fusion events. So I want to start with fusion events because this is kind of what we're kind of talking about here, is kind of preparing for these events and how frequently they come through. Now, Hell Hades is a really great website for this. You can track all of the previous fusion events and you can kind of see how long in between that they are, and it's usually about once a month. Not always, but it's typically about that. And so you can see that we recently finished off Lethanthier Beastbane, who I did manage to clear. Now, he's good, but he was nowhere near as good as, I think Fabian is a lot better for me personally, who I also managed to clear. But I want to kind of go backwards a little bit. So these are the two most recent ones. You can see that they're roughly about once a month. He also gives a nice little rating on the character as well. And they talk about whether or not it's what type of fusion event it is. And to be honest, really, this just depends on, what kind of events you have to do. For Esme the Dancer, it was a fragment fusion. So there's fragment fusions, and then there's traditional fusions, which requires you to, use other characters to get those right. Like the Skinwalkers guy from Lethanthier Beastbane, and Fabian had, oh god, I forgot the characters already. The Hide Stitcher Born, was that Fabian? I'm pretty sure. And so Esme the Dancer, I did not clear. I also wasn't really a big fan of the character anyways. It was like a duo with the other guy, who I actually do have. That's the funny thing, actually, is that I do have the legendary Moto of the Peel, but I don't actually use him right now. I'm not currently using him at the moment. He's not focused for me. And so he was the duo for the February Valentine's event for Esme the Dancer. And then I started the game here at Mad Hatter. Like, it was kind of halfway through, so I didn't manage to get Mad Hatter, but I did get one of the other characters, Sabbatha, something Sabbatha. I mean, I'm trying hard to memorize all the characters. Dawncaller Sabbatha, who was from this, who's a decent support character who I managed to pick up when I first started the game. So I've been playing for just over 3 months now, and you can kind of go back and see these events, but they're coming by pretty frequently. Some are better than others, of course, and so you kind of want to really make sure that you're holding on to the shards for those characters that you really want. It does seem, on average, just by looking at some of these previous ones, like I just recently started going back and checking them out. Lady Noelle is very good, just because I've seen these characters in Arena and I've seen like what they do, and I think it seems that roughly every 3 months that there's like a really good fusion character. Some of them are mediocre, some of them are, quote unquote skippable. Thor is also really good for getting a rating of 4. He's a very strong nuker, also great in Hydra. But as you can see with some of these ratings, like, it's like, maybe they're because they were older. I pulled randomly Esther Dreamsong. She's been really, really good for me. I like her. And I heard Vaultkeeper Wixwell was just OP as shit for Demon Lord and things. Like, you can do some really big things with him. So, I would say that, a good third to half of the fusion characters are really, really good. And these are the types of characters that you want to save your resources for. And namely, there's a handful of things. But in order to make or break a fusion event, typically it's going to be your shards. Like, I gotta say, like, when I've been so far with the fusion events, like, if you cannot clear the summon rush or the champion chase events that they normally have two, they normally run both the summon rush and the champion chase. We have an example summon rush that's running just now, although this is for the community week, so it's the way that they structure the points is a little bit different. But essentially, how you get points, you can see here that a sacred shard, at least for this event, is worth 500. Sometimes they're worth anywhere from 350, I think, to 450 typically on fusion events. And then primal shards, void shards, ancient shards. And you can see that the most bang for your buck is obviously going to be your sacred shards. So making sure that you have anywhere from 6 to 10 sacred shards to do the summon rush event is going to be very important to clearing a fusion event, because you can't clear a fusion legendary without doing these shard related events. That's just the thing. So you need to save these and be prepared for those coming around. Now, as you can see, or maybe you can't see because my cam box is in the way, but I have 0 sacred shards. I blew everything for Lysanthier, Beastbane, and I do not have a whole lot of things right now. So it's looking likely that I'm probably not going to be able to clear the next fusion event. However, I do have almost 3,500 mystery shards. So this might let me clear the summon rush, but not the champion chase. Now, to differentiate those two events, the champion chase events give you more points for pulling void champions. So you typically want to save your void shards for those events, because it matters what type of character you pull, whether it's a rare, an epic, or a legendary, or a mythical, I guess. And then you get bonus points if they're void champions. So you tend to get more points for that, for using your void shards on those champion chase tournaments. Whereas for sacred shards are better to be run on summon rush, and also mystery shards, I suppose, if you wanted to spam those open too, which I may do on my next event. Now, where are you going to get those? You're going to get those from your clan boss. You're going to get those from your demon lord. Now, I'm currently 1 keying Nightmare. If you caught up on some of my other videos, I'm 1 keying Nightmare, and I'm 3 keying Ultra Nightmare. It could be better, but it's just the type of characters that I have right now doesn't really make this possible. But the drop rates on the shards are very good in the final chest. However, you can only get sacred shards from the final chest of Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. They do not exist on Brutal. You can still get, some chances on Ancient Shards and Void Shards, but realistically, I think it's somewhere like 6% for a Sacred Shard on Nightmare, and about, I want to say 20% or something like that on Ultra Nightmare. So it's very, very good, and being able to obviously clear this and get 2 chests is even better. Unfortunately, I am not quite there yet with my alliance, with my clan. We're almost clearing Nightmare sometimes, but Ultra Nightmare is still a ways off. But that's where you're going to be able to get the most amount of progress and your ability to clear this. Now, if you're a new player, what that typically means is that you're probably not going, you most definitely, unless you're spending, are not going to be clearing every fusion event. You're probably going to need to hold, make sure you hoard and you wait for the right time to do this on a character that you really want to do, that you think you have the best chance of doing that. And that's just the realistic expectation, I think, that I want to set for people for these events, that it's not easy, but I think that if you manage your resources properly, that you could do this roughly every 2 months or so, I think is the realistic expectation, especially if you're free to play and you're not spending that much. But if you manage to push your way up on Demon Lord, that's going to make the biggest bang for your buck. Now, other things that you do want to consider when it comes to fusion events as well is going to be some silver. Believe it or not, like, you do need silver to clear the gear enhancement events, and there could be anywhere from 2 to 3 of these over a 2-week period. And on average, don't quote me, but I do believe that it could take anywhere in the realm of 15 million if you're really lucky, or like 30 million for one if you're unlucky, in terms of the RNG, or the random number generator, on how much it costs to upgrade your artifacts to get the points. And I do want to point out that upgrading accessories to level 16 is going to cost a lot more than just upgrading your regular artifacts. So do keep in mind the types of items that you even want to level to begin with. Normally what I do is, because I normally just go 5-6 star, do they have speed substats? And then I just take a look at all of the gear that I have. I kind of try to break it down, do I want to upgrade any of these to level 16? Are any of them really good? Especially the ones with the good sets first. I take a look at that, and then I upgrade them to level 16 for gear enhancement, because that's going to be the gear that has like 2 or 3 speed stat rolls, maybe has speed and accuracy both, because those are some of the best stats in the game. That's how I prioritize that for gear enhancement. when they do come around. I just wanted to let people know about that. And thirdly is actually going to be energy, believe it or not. And I do hoard quite a bit of energy for fusion events, and I like to keep it in my inbox. Whenever I get these little things, these little potions, and I don't need to spend them because you get lots of days to use them, I tend to keep them in my inbox because then I can save it and use it for the right time for these fusion events, because those are the top 3 things, honestly, that you need to clear a fusion event. I wonder if the Lysanthier, I mean, I could probably find it on Hell Hades, but I'm just wondering if it's like actually still, I doubt it's here anymore. The news on the events calendar for Lysanthier, but tends to be dungeons, right? It's going to be dungeons, it's going to be shard pulling, and it's going to be gear enhancement. There's also some arena stuff, but that tends to be pretty easy. The classic arena takedown, which is actually, I'm pretty sure, is running right now for the community week for the Titan event. You know, these things are not hard to clear, right? I just need to do like 2 more arena battles. I've been actually slacking a little bit. Those aren't too hard. So the 3 main things when it comes to a fusion event is going to be shards, silver, and energy. Those are the 3 main things that you need to do. Now, typically, when it comes to a dungeon event or tournament, you're probably looking at anywhere from 1,000 to, depending on, you know, how hard it is for you, like 1,000 to 1,500 energy for one of those. So it can take a fair bit. Saving up your gems, that's another thing actually that I didn't really talk about, but it is something that you can do because gems equals energy. But gems can, I don't know if I'd necessarily do this, but gems, I did this very early on. Gems can equal, well, other things too. You can get direct points for that too, for the ongoing things, but you can also buy ancient shards. You can buy 11 ancient shards for 900 gems, and I don't necessarily recommend this, but if this is a make or break for you for a fusion event, this can be a thing. So really, at the end of the day, saving your daily gems, or saving your gems in general for these fusion events, can make a big difference. And I do want to point out, of course, these are some things that I do that really, I know it's in the light spending category for sure, but these are things that I do to help me have resources available for this. Is the daily gem pack, which you can buy for $10 US. Pretty good value there, especially if you're playing the game every day, right? You're getting a 30-day login calendar for that, and also the daily energy. This is $20 US, I think, over 14 days, but it gives you these energy things that you can just keep and hoard into your inbox, and then you can use them on a rainy day, right? You can use them for the fusion events. You can use them for other events whenever you want, and that's why I really like these 2 calendars here. These are some things that I pick up pretty much every single month. So those are the best bang for your buck, in my opinion. So yeah, just make sure that you're aware of how you can kind of maximize your preparation for these upcoming events, because I know that as soon as this community week event, Titan event, once it's over, we're going to be jumping probably straight in to another fusion event. Because if you look at the timetable, honestly, from this, it's just generally 1 month apart. February 10th, March 10th, April 7th. It's almost like right on the dot. January the 8th, it's like plus or minus a couple of days, right? So we're going to be looking at probably early May, right, for the next fusion event, and we're going to get news on that pretty soon. So really, that's like a week and a half away. It'll be on the back of this community week, right? That's exactly when it's going to happen, when it's going to be timed. And I just want to share this with you guys so that you can properly prepare. And hopefully you don't blow too many of your resources during the community week for this IADX R-Tour event, because it's okay. We're all going to get them for free. There's some red stars up for grabs, but I think you can probably get a 3 red EADX for very minimal work. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. But before we do end the video, I do want to remind people, of course, that if you haven't started playing Raid Shadow Legends yet, why not? You should download using the QR code or in the description down below to get yourself a free legendary Elena roll. And then, of course, you can get yourself a free Epic Tagore at account level 25 by using the link as well. And then finally, of course, we'll talk about Supreme Gallic one more time, that you can use the promo code Supreme6 within the first 24 hours of your account to get yourself him a Void Legendary Champion that is really, really good. So that's going to be the end of this video, everyone. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you guys on the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.